In today's training, I'm going to be sharing with you how to turn your annual income into your monthly income. And here's the thing, guys. Like, for some reason, so many people think that this is like impossible. It's super hard. Like, there's no way possible you can turn your annual income into your monthly income. Well, in this training, I'm going to be sharing with you guys exactly how to do it. Not only is it possible, but I want to submit something to you, probably controversial. It's not only is it possible, it's actually very simple. It's actually very easy. And in today's training, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So today's training starts off, guys, with a little story. One of my mentors told me, incredible story. So one of my mentors was on a flight recently, and they sat down on the flight, and they sat next to this young dude, you know, in his late 20s, dressed up, kind of like a scientist-looking guy. And one of my mentors looks at him and says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" And the young kid goes, "I'm actually a physicist." And my mentor goes, "A physicist? That's awesome. I love physics. I love everything that has to do with that." And for the next 2.5, 3 hours, they just had all of this deep conversation about physics, right? And one of the things that my mentor asked this young physicist was, "What's your favorite thing about physics? Like, what is your favorite thing about what you do?" And the young physicist kind of sits there for a moment and kind of ponders, and he says, "You know, I think one of my favorite things about physics is all principles." If you're taking notes, write this down. All principles are microcosms of each other. All principles are microcosms of each other. What does that mean? It means if a principle works in one arena, it will also work in every other arena. What? Think about that, okay? For instance, okay? In the Bible, there's this saying out of the book of Deuteronomy: one person can send 1,000 to flight, but two of us can send 10,000 to flight. Well, that is a principle that basically states that there is power in synergy. There's power in partnerships. So whether that was military language, one sends 1,000 to flight, two sends 10,000 to flight. But even though it's being used in a military language type of way in that presentation, think about it. Like, even Solomon tells us in the book of 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐬, two are better than one. Like, why? Because there is a synergy that happens whenever you go from being by yourself in a focus lane to having partnership, right? Whether that's in marriage, there's even scientific evidence around the idea, what's called synergy, and it's when one horse runs by itself, it's 1 horsepower. When 2 horses run together next to each other, it actually gives off the synergy to where it gives the effect of a 3rd horse pulling and running together. And that's just the power of synergy. So why am I saying all this? Because what we're going to talk about today, I actually want to give you some principles on how to take some of these specific principles and apply them to your finances, apply them to your business, so that you can begin to tap into the reality of it is actually easier to make a lot of money in a short amount of time than it is to make a little bit of money over a long period of time. And again, I know for most people it's like, that's impossible, and no one can do that. And anyone who tries to teach people how to do that is a scammer. Well, I want to submit to you today, if we take this idea of this physicist who said all principles are microcosms of each other, meaning if a principle works in one arena, it also must work in every other arena. Now, I'm not talking about good ideas. I'm talking about actual principles, okay? So if you guys are ready to hear some of these principles, drop some fire emojis in the comments, okay? Now, there is a really awesome book that I want to recommend to everybody here in the training today. There is a phenomenal entrepreneur dude named Daniel Priestley. He's got a bunch of amazing books out there, and one book that I'm reading through right now, it's called The Key Person of Influence, okay? Key Person of Influence. And in Daniel Priestley's book, Key Person of Influence, he makes this statement: income follows assets. If you're taking notes, write that down, or maybe drop it in the comments here, okay? income follows assets. What does that mean? And by the way, hold this idea that all principles are microcosms of each other. Hold that just for a minute, because I'm going to come back to that here in just a moment and show you how some of these principles I'm going to show you, they're going to apply to your finances and to your business. But check this out. Income follows assets. What that means is, okay, the more assets that you have, the more income you can make. Think about that, okay? If income follows assets, that means the more assets you have, the more income you can make. Can I submit something to you guys? One of the main reasons why broke people or broke-minded people stay broke is because they are their only income-producing asset. Why are broke-minded people staying broke? Because they are their only income-producing asset. And why in the world do wealthy people, how come wealthy people just keep getting more and more and more and more wealthy? Because we like to acquire assets that work for us, okay? I'm not my only income-producing asset. I've got many, many, many assets now that income just follows my assets, okay? So when it comes to building wealth, the thing that you have to do to create this wealth is you have to focus on creating more income-producing assets. In fact, I need at least 10 people in the comments, drop these words, income-producing assets, okay? If you are your only income-producing asset, you're going to stay broke. If you are the only thing that you have to create income or to create assets that income can follow, you're going to stay broke. So we need to begin to focus on how can I begin to generate or create new and creative and different assets that income can follow, okay? Rome, if you can scroll down a little bit there on my notes there. Here's the thing, guys. I want you to understand something. The people who are making more money than you, like really consider this for a second. People who are making more money than you, it's not because they're working harder than you, okay? Like I tell this story sometimes. I was in India leading a missions trip years ago. We leave the hotel, it was like 8 in the morning. We pull up to this red light and there's this group of men working on the concrete. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to India. It doesn't matter what month it is blazing inferno hot, like level 1 million humidity at all times. Morning, noon, night, middle of the night, it's always just blazing, humid, hot. And it is gnarly out there sometimes, but it's so crazy. We pull up 8 in the morning, it's already blazing hot, blazing humid, and there's this group of men like smashing this pile of concrete, like pouring concrete. And I didn't think anything of it. I just took notice like, wow, it's really hot outside. And these guys like 8 in the morning, they're already out here like killing it. This is nuts. We go off, we do the whole entire missions trip for the whole day. We're like loving on orphans. We're building this orphanage. We're doing meetings and, worship and teaching and blah, 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 and doing all the stuff. Well, we spend the whole entire day out there doing this stuff. We finally get back in the bus. We're heading on the way back to the hotel at the end of the night. It's like 9 or 10 at night at this point. And we pull up on the way back to the hotel. We pull up back at the same red light. And the same dudes are out there working on the same asphalt with the same shovels, still pouring sweat, like from 8 in the morning all the way till 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. Now, I want to submit something to you. Why am I saying people who make 10 times more money than you, they're not working 10 times harder than you, they're not working 10 times longer than you? Like, that's physically impossible. Like, if you were to work 24 hours in a day and someone makes 10 times more money than you, they're not working 240 hours a day. It's just not possible. So why am I telling this story about these Indian, hard-working Indian people? Because the point I'm trying to make is if I were to walk up to these guys and be like, hey guys, if you want to make more money, all you got to do is work harder. Like, that would be foolish. Like, that would be so dumb to tell them, like, what do you mean? Like, so the thing to understand is that the hardest working people are not necessarily the biggest earning people. And why is that? Because people who make more money than you, it's not that they're working harder than you, it's actually because they're working smarter than you. Okay, hard work alone. If you're taking notes, write this down or drop it in the comments. Let me know that you're paying attention. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the training. I wanted to take a few moments real quick to invite you to join me for my upcoming Create and Sell Digital Products 5-day challenge, okay? This is a 5-day live virtual event where I invite entrepreneurs or would-be entrepreneurs just like you to come spend 5 days with me and get live training on the 5 moves that anyone can take in order to scale and skyrocket their business and their revenue. Now, the best way to join is as a VIP because VIPs get to spend an extra hour with me every single day and ask your questions live. My most successful students have all been VIPs. That's the best way to join. Listen, you don't want to miss the upcoming Create and Sell Digital Products 5-day challenge. It's completely live. It's coming up right around the corner. Click the link down below in the description. Grab your ticket today. Now back to the training. Hard work alone will not make you rich. Hard work alone will not make you rich, okay? You've got to learn how to work smarter, and here's the key, by leveraging better systems and approaches, okay? I need at least 10 people in the comments, drop this word, leverage. Leverage, 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 okay? Come with me here to the board. I wanna share a really interesting example here with you guys on what I mean when it comes to leverage. And then remember, we're gonna go back to this idea of all principles are microcosms of each other in just a moment. Come with me here to the board, check this out, okay? Let's say there's a guy or gal, right? And they have a task of running 1 mile, okay? Now this person who is ready to run 1 mile, okay, let me ask you a question. If there was another person and this person was also tasked with the task of running 2 miles, okay? And both of these, let me see if my laser works here. Both of these individuals were at the same athletic level, okay? Let me ask you a question. Who would finish their task first? Would it be individual number 1 to run 1 mile, or would it be individual number 2 to run 2 miles? Who would finish their task first? It's not a trick question. Who would finish first? Well, it is the person who is going to run 1 mile. Why? Because if they're at the same physicality, right? If they're at the same strength level or cardiovascular health level, the one who is going to run 2 miles is going to take them longer than the one that is going to run 1 mile. Unless, somebody in the comments drop this word, unless, unless, unless. Unless person number 2, let's see if I can draw this. Unless person number 2 has a bike. Okay? Now again, these people could have the same strength, the same health level, but the person with a better vehicle, okay, the person with a better opportunity, the person who is working smarter instead of harder, guess what? The person on the bike is easily going to complete the 2 miles much faster than the person who without a bike is trying to run the 1 mile. Is this making sense so far? If you're getting it, drop it in the comments. Say, I'm getting it, I'm getting it, I'm getting it, I'm getting it. Now watch this, okay? There's more to this. What if the task was actually to go 3 miles, okay? I'm going somewhere with this. Okay, what if the task was to actually go 3 miles? And again, let's take the 2 bike instances, okay? Again, they're the same bikes, the people weigh the same, they're at the same health level. Everything is the same except one person is tasked to go 2 miles and one person is tasked to go 3. Who in the world is going to finish their task first? Well, I submit to you, it's going to be the person who needs to go 2 miles. Why? Because it's a shorter distance and they have the same vehicle to go either 2 miles or 3 miles, okay? So the person with the bike and only 2 miles is going to win unless, come on, I need another 10 people in the comments to drop these words, unless person number 3 unless person number 3, this is a car, by the way. It's a weird looking car, and I don't know why the muffler is as big as the car itself. But unless person number 3 has a car, okay, it doesn't, like, let's just say that the person with the bike in this situation, they're like, 3 times stronger, and they're like, they do the Tour de France, and they're like the best bike rider in the world, and they're the fastest bike rider in the world. Even if they have the highest ability with their current vehicle, okay, they are not going to be able to win as fast as the person with even the most janky, like cheap, broke down car. Why? Because it comes down to who has a better opportunity in their vehicle. Are y'all getting this so far? If you're getting this, drop it in the comments. Say, I'm getting it, I'm getting it, I'm getting it, I'm getting it. I'm telling you guys and gals right now, there is a very simple and easy way to take your annual income and turn it into your monthly or even weekly or even daily income. It's not just some weird pipe dream. It's not just some catchy clickbait, like, oh, Rick's just trying to trick us and blah, blah. No. This is absolutely possible. How do I know this is possible? Because I have done it for myself. Some of my students are doing it for themselves, right? Many of my students are doing it for themselves. And honestly, you can do it for yourself too if you begin to take a look at these principles, okay? Now let's continue this example and go even further. Okay, what if the task now changed dramatically and it was to go like 10 miles? Okay, who's going to get there quicker? The person who is running, right? Even they could even be the best runner in the world. The person who's biking, they could even have like the most amazing, bike rider in the world. The person with the Lambo, right? It's like super fast car, or the person, let's see if I can do this now. Or the person with the jet. Okay? Are y'all seeing what I'm talking about here? One of the main reasons why so many people stay broke and they can't figure out their finances and they can't get it off the ground with their business and they're struggling and blah, 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 is because they are trying to do the task of creating wealth by just simply running. Like, they don't even have a bike to get there. They don't have a car to get there, right? They don't have any of this stuff to get there. They're just like, man, I'm going to try my hardest to get there in my own strength. And that's exactly why they're broke. It's exactly why broke-minded people stay struggling, not just for their life, but it loops into generation after generation after generation, is because it takes one person in each family to break the generational curse and say, I am going to at least go out there and find me a bike. I'm going to go out there and at least save up enough to buy me a car. I'm going to learn how to fly an airplane, and then I'm going to show my children and I'm going to show my children's children how to use this vehicle so that way we can cover more ground in less amount of time. If that's you, if you're that person for your family, drop it in the comments. Say, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me. So remember what I was saying at the beginning of the training, okay? That all principles are microcosms of each other, meaning if a principle is true in one arena, then by science, but in physics, then it will be true in another arena. Why did I open up by saying this? Because if this idea is correct with covering physical distances, okay? And by the way, just to throw this out there for fun, there are even people out there who've got straight up like, I don't even know how to draw it, straight up like rocket ships. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me see if I can do this. There we go. Like they have like nuclearized crazy, there's a dude in there smiling, right? Like crazy nuclearized rocket ships, like boom, and they can like take off hundreds of miles a second, bam. Like, guys, I'm telling you right now, if you're taking notes, write this down. This is game changer if you can get what I'm about to say to you, okay? If you're taking notes, write this down. You can always make up in leverage what you lack in ability. You can always make up in leverage what you lack in ability. So what does this mean? Okay, if this example is true to covering ground physically, then guess what? This principle is also true in your business, in your finances. When it comes to building wealth, this same principle is true when it comes to you building wealth. I'm gonna tell y'all a quick story, okay? So one of the first businesses I started, my core product was 27 bucks, okay? And this 27 bucks, we sold. Now, by the way, this was an absolute nightmare. It almost took me out. It was the most stressed I've ever been in my entire life. It was one of the hardest things I'd ever done, okay? And from the outside looking in, most people would be like, well, that sounds pretty cool, but it was absolutely wretched, okay? And what am I saying? This $27 product, we would sell roughly 1,800-ish of these products every single month. And it generated roughly 50K a month, okay? Now guys, I'm talking about like I had 12 people on staff, full-time editors, full-time graphic designers, full-time audio guys, 2 video guys, like operations managers, assistants, like craziness. Like all of us were like pounding the pavement nonstop every single day. And by the way, because I had so much staff at the time, my overhead was about $50,000 a month. So we all had to grind our faces off just to sell $1,827 products every single month, not even to make profit. Like this isn't even profit, guys. This was my break even. This was, I hope we can make payroll. Like it was crazy. And then the dichotomy is if I fire some people, if I let some people go to try to save money, then we won't be able to sell the 1,800 products because the positions everybody has is very needed for us to do this. So legit, I was stuck like in a nightmare hamster wheel of just trying to get this thing going. And I'm telling you guys what, like it was so difficult. It was such a nightmare. And this was month after month after month after month, super frustrating, super hard, and just stressful, man. Now, thankfully, some months I would make just enough profit. I'd be stacking away a little bit here and there when I could. And it finally got to the point where I was like, I need a breakthrough. Like this is not working. This is absolutely not working. Why? Because legit, guys, I legit was trying to go the distance in my own strength by myself. Maybe if you, whatever level you consider that in business, I might have had a quote unquote bike at the time, okay? But we were struggling, okay? So finally, I was presented with an opportunity to hire one of my first mentors, and I paid this mentor $155,000, okay, for years. Like every year I'd pay them $155,000. But I paid them $155,000. Most people would be like, that is absolutely psychotic. Like you could buy a house for that in some states. Why in the world would you ever pay somebody $155,000 just to be your business coach? That's so dumb. Well, check this out, okay? What I did was I invested into leverage. 10 people in the comments, drop this word, leverage, 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 leverage. Because here's what I didn't understand at the time is that I could make up and leverage what I lacked in ability. I just knew that I needed a breakthrough. I knew that we needed to go to the next level. I didn't know how to get there. And the only logical answer I could come up with was I need to hire somebody who's been there, done that. So I paid my coach $155,000, okay? And I learned a new system from them. And here's the crazy part, okay? 2 months later. How many months later? 2 months later, okay? Not 2 years later, not 2 decades later, 2 months later, I was able to make $400,000 in one single week. Why? Because this mentor said, hey, you're doing it all wrong. You're grinding in the wrong way, okay? What you need to do is you need to increase your price, sell less for higher. And long story short, I sold a 5K program. They taught me how to put together a legit program, okay? And I believe it was 80. Let me just make sure my numbers are right. Yep. I presented a new offer and I said, yo guys, this is going away. Okay, we're not doing this anymore. In fact, I'm only selling this thing for $5,000 now. Now here's the thing, most people would be like, what? Like in order to get more clients, you have to lower your price. That is not true. It's absolutely false, right? And it's just, when you don't know, you just don't know what you don't know. And so my mentor says, dude, stop selling something for 27 bucks. Here's exactly how to put together something for much higher, a more premium value offer. You're gonna charge more, and then you're gonna make this available to your community. Now, one good thing that came from doing this grind for 3 or 4 years is I had thousands and thousands and thousands of leads, right? And so what I did was I basically went to my leads and I said, yo guys, I have a new offer for everybody. It's really cool, and it couples with this thing, but it's way, way, way better. And it's only $5,000, right? And in week number 1, I sold 80 of them and we made $400,000 in one single week. Like think about that. I would grind my face off for months and months and months. What would that be? 1, 2, 3. It literally would take me 8 months of stressful grinding and grinding and grinding to make the same 400K that I made in one single week because I had a different vehicle to get there. I leveled up. I got new leverage, okay? And it was at that point where we made 400K in 1 week that I learned this. It's easier to make a lot of money in a short amount of time than it is to make a little bit of money over a long period of time, okay? How was I able to do this? I paid a mentor to teach me how to leverage new knowledge so I didn't have to just run with no better vehicle to try to cover this distance. Okay, are y'all with me? Are y'all getting this? Okay, here's the thing. This principle that you can cover more ground faster with a better vehicle, it's not just for physical things, it's for your finances, it's for your business as well. Okay, if you're taking notes, write this down. It's always easier to make big strides than it is to make small advances. It's always bigger to make big strides than it is to make small advances. In other words, it's easier to take quantum leaps than it is to take baby steps. Now, I know that's going to mess with some people because your whole entire life, you and I both, okay, we were in the quote unquote matrix, okay? Every single one of us in America, we were in the matrix, bruh. Like, what does that mean? It means that we were in the cultural hypnotic mechanism, okay, that literally like brainwashes people in these child prisons or AKA schools, whatever you want to call them, okay? And it teaches us the only way to move forward is by baby step, baby step, baby step, baby step. And the reason why so many broke-minded people are like, oh, getting rich quick is a scam. And like anyone who says that they can make money online, especially with digital products, like they're false and like they're trying to scam everybody. And this is a pyramid scheme and blah, blah, blah. Why are they saying that? Because the only lens they have to try to understand is with this little itty bitty ability. Like they're still trading their time for dollars, right? Most broke-minded people stay broke because when you say, yo, you can make more money in a little bit of time than you can make a little bit of money over a long period of time, they're like, well, how's that possible? Because I would have to work a million hours and I can't work a million hours. I'd have to trade this much time or this much effort. No one has that much time, that much effort. Exactly. You don't have the right vehicle to get to where you desire to get. But how many of y'all know that it's time to get unbrainwashed from what the cultural hypnotic mechanism has brainwashed all of us to believe that, like, dude, everything is hard. Like, go to school, go to work, get a nice job, climb the corporate ladder, pay your taxes, work extremely hard, save, go to work 40 or 50 hours a week until you're 70, right? And now, like, retirement age is even longer, right? Like, they literally just came out, the CEO of Blackstone just came out and said, yo, like, retirement's looking more like 75, 78 now. It's like, give me a break, dude. I don't want to have to be a slave to the system until I'm almost 80, right? Like, I want to find better leverage to cover space faster so that I can get where I'm trying to get much quicker, right? So why in the world are broke-minded people like, this is a scam, it's a pyramid scheme, like they're trying to rip you off? It's because they just don't get it. They just don't understand that there are bikes out there are cars out there are planes out there are rocket ships out there. There's like Einstein's theory of relativity. You could get on a light beam in theory, right? And just like go fast as you want. Like, there are so many levels to the game, guys. And so when I say you can literally take your monthly income your annual income and turn it into your monthly income, it is possible. In fact, if you believe that it's possible for you, drop it into comments right now. 10, 15, 20 people, drop it into comments. Say, it is possible for me. Say, it is possible for me. Remember, guys, you can always make up in leverage what you lack in ability. Okay, if you're taking notes, write this down. When it comes to leverage, okay? If you're taking notes, write this down. Leveraged work is better, easier, and faster than labored work. I'll say that again. Leveraged work is better, easier, and faster than labored work. Okay, leverage work is more effective, it's more efficient, it uses less energy, right? Like, think about it. The guy who's running, like, he's super tired, bruh. But what about the guy who's in the car? Like, he's just pushing like the gas pedal. Like, it's way less effort for him to go way longer strides with way less effort, right? That's how it works in money. That's how it works in business. That's how it works in finances as well. Okay, leverage work is better, easier, more efficient. It's just better all around than labored work. Okay, now here's the biggest punchline I want to leave with you, okay? One of the reasons why so many people stay broke and they stay struggling is because so many people are asking this question. Well, Rick, how much will leverage cost me? Like, isn't it going to cost something? Like, think about that. It's like coming to our diagram here, and this guy he's trying to run a mile, and you're like, yo, there's a way better way. You should buy this bike. It's like this person here going, well, how much do bikes cost? Like, those are really expensive. Like, oh my gosh. And not only do I have to buy the bike, but then I have to like learn how to ride the bike. Like, ugh, right? Or what if you're like, yo, there's a much better way than even a bike, and you should buy a car. Like, most broke-minded people out there today, they are asking the wrong question. Well, how much does it cost? I don't want to hire a mentor. I don't want to go through a training. Like, I don't want to pay to get trained by this. Like, who in the world would want to do that? Like, instead of focusing on how much will it cost me, you need to start asking a different and better question. And the question is this: how much will it cost you if you don't? Like, instead of saying like, well, how much will leverage cost me? How much will it cost you if you don't get leverage? Imagine this. There are people out there in their jets right now just making crazy strides in their business, in their finances, because they invested into, quote unquote, a jet, right? Like, they have a way better operating system. They have way more efficient knowledge, and they have way better strategies when it comes to building business, building wealth. And it's almost like the guy or the gal who doesn't have anything, the runner up here is like, well, man, I don't want to have to buy a bike. I don't want to have to learn how to ride a bike. I don't want to have to buy a car. Like, that's so expensive. Guess what's more expensive? Not having a vehicle to get you from where you are now to where you desire to be fast enough. Like, guys, you must invest in leverage so that your life can finally become better. Like, how in the world did I do this 400K in a week? It's because I was using the wrong leverage here. And I literally turned my monthly income, like I 8x'd my monthly income into a week. I collapsed time into a week because I hired a mentor. I hired somebody who could teach me the way and say, look, stop like spinning your wheels, running and doing all this effort, like not going very fast, not going very far. You should just buy this car. You should just buy this jet. Here's how to use it. And here's how to like 10x what you're doing. Guys, that's how it happened for me. It's how it happens for my students. It's how it can happen for you. Like this is how it works, guys. So real quick, let me leave you with this, okay? How in the world are we going to then leverage these principles, okay, to say, okay, well, if this idea that you can cover a longer span of distance in a shorter amount of time, if you have the correct leverage, if that's true for physical things, then because it's a principle and it's a microcosm of other things, then that principle is also true in business, it's also true in finances. Then what I need to do is I need to find out the best way to leverage my time, my knowledge, my effort, etc. Okay? So how are we gonna do this?
If you've made it this far into the training and you're enjoying it and you still haven't checked out my upcoming 5-day live virtual challenge, Create and Sell Digital Products, what is you doing? Check out this testimony right here of one of my current students. He took the information that I'm gonna be sharing with you in the upcoming 5-day training to make $15,000 in one single week. Click the link down below, join as a VIP. We'll see you in the challenge. Now, back to the training.
Let's say here in America, you make $72K a year, okay? That's a pretty decent salary. A lot of Americans would be happy with that, right? Now, here's the thing. You could either make this $72K by working 40 or 50 hours per week times 52 weeks, okay? And you could make that $72K, okay? And that's, you could try to run there like that. That's you running there, right? Like I'm gonna run, I'm gonna work super hard, right? Or you could have a digital product that sells for $1,000, okay? And then literally you could sell your digital product at $1,000. You could literally sell 1.4 of these per week in order to make the same 72K per year. What? Like think about it, guys. Like literally, this is you going from running or being on the bike to like getting in the car, man. Like people who are out there like it's a scam, digital products don't work, and building courses and blah, blah, blah. People are just trying to sell courses these days and blah, 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 blah. Whatever. Like let the broke-minded people continue to try to run their way to wealth. Well, those of you guys and gals who are smart enough to see, wait a second, there is a better way to do this. Right? Like there is a way better leveraged opportunity. Think about this. Like if you put together a course and you sold it for $1,000, you only need to sell 1.4 of those courses a week to make 72K. But here's the crazy part. Like if you want to go from the bike to the car, what were to happen if you were to have 2 digital products? Right? Like what if you sold 2 digital products at $1,000 and you sold 1.4 of these every week? Like you're literally doubling the income, right? And then what if you were to have 5 digital products, right? And you sold 5 digital products at $1,000 a week. Guys, I'm telling you, like there is a hard way to try to build wealth. And this is why most people never land up actually building real wealth. Let's not even talk about generational wealth. Like I'm talking about wealth for themselves, like wealth just to get out of debt, wealth just to like have a decent life and provide for their families and to have like a nice, beautiful, comfortable life. Like most people can't even get that because they're too busy running, right? They have no correct vehicle to get from where they are to where they desire to be. Well, there's some of us out here just on the rocket ship like, well, I'll tell y'all guys this is crazy. And this is not to boast. This is just to show you that principles work. I went on vacation for 9 days, okay? I just got back from a 9-day vacation from the beach. It was absolutely incredible. We blew it out. Like anything that my family desired, I just said, get whatever you want, buy whatever you want, go wherever you want, do whatever you want, rent whatever you want, blah, 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 blah. And while we were on this vacation, it was a very expensive vacation, okay? It cost tens of thousands of dollars, but that didn't matter. Why? Because while I was on vacation with my family, I made multiple 6 figures while I was chilling on the beach. That's not to boast. I'm not saying that to boast. I'm saying that to say, when you capture this principle, okay, that it's easier to make a lot of money in a short amount of time than it is to make a little bit of money over a long period of time. And the way that you do this is you've got to level up your leverage. In fact, I need at least 10 people in the comments. Drop these words. Level up your leverage. You need to level up your leverage, man. Stop being the broke guy or gal who's like just trying to do it all in their own effort. Like go to school, go to work, get a job, go to college, pay taxes, save. Like you don't have to do that. Like at least get a bike, at least learn how to drive a car. Well, I don't want to buy a car. Then I'm going to have to learn how to drive. Like give me a break. It is so worth buying leverage. It is so worth learning a new system. Like even if it took you a year to learn a new system or learn how to ride a bike or learn how to drive your car or learn how to fly your plane, even if it took a year, who the heck cares? Because now you have a way to get from where you are to where you desire to be in your finances a billion times faster, right? Like insanely faster than you are doing it right now. So here's what I want to leave with you guys and gals today, okay? You must stop being your only income producing asset. Stop being your only income producing asset. Do whatever you can to learn how to use leverage. Hire a mentor, hire a coach, join a mentorship, join some kind of program, buy a training, do something like that so that you can learn how to leverage your way into a better vehicle so that you can create more assets and make more income as fast as humanly possible. My friends, that's how you can take your annual income and turn it into your monthly, weekly, or even daily income.